Units raised to a power. When we are converting quantities with units raised to a power, the conversion factor must also be raised to that power. What do we mean by units raised to a power? Well, that's things like centimeters cubed or meters squared. So let's remember what the exponent means. Centimeters cubed is centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. And meters squared is meters times meters. We treat the units like we do variables. And so you can have x cubed, you can have meters cubed. That's all that means. When we're converting them, we cannot ignore the cube. So let's do an example. An automobile engine has a displacement, which is a measurement of the size of the engine, of 289.7 cubic inches. What is its displacement in cubic centimeters? We read the problem, we find the numbers. Okay, they give us one number. 289.7 cubic inches. And the question, what is its displacement in cubic centimeters? Another way to write that is centimeters cubed. There's only one number, so we don't have to go trying to figure out which is the conversion factor and where are we starting. We're starting with the number. So we're going to start with this number, 289.7 cubic inches, and we're going to convert to cubic centimeters. We're not going to find a relationship in this table that gives us cubic inches to cubic centimeters, but we will find one that gives us inches and centimeters. So the relationship between inches and centimeters is that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So I'm going to give you guys a slightly different explanation than I gave the morning class. And you can go watch the YouTube video of the other one and see if you like that one better. How would we relate cubic inches to cubic centimeters? We have to cube it. So this would be cubed, and this would be cubed. What's really, really important is that the number is cubed also. The number has to get cubed. So if we know the relationship between the units without the exponent, then we're good to go. One step here. 289.7 cubic inches. We've got one conversion factor. We want cubic centimeters on the top. We want cubic inches on the bottom. Okay, so this was cubed. 1 cubed and inches cubed. So let's just write that a slightly different way. That is the same as 1 to the third power, inches to the third power, equals 2.54 to the third power, centimeters to the third power. So here I've got 2.54 cubed, and down here, that's a 2. I've got 1 cubed. Well, 1 cubed is easy. 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. Here we see that the units cancel out. Inches cubed cancel inches cubed. How do we do 2.54 cubed on our calculator? There's a couple different ways. You can just type it in 3 times. 2.54 times 2.54 times 2.54. And if you have a really simple calculator, that may be what you have to do. A lot of calculators, though, have either an x cubed button or a y to the x button. And either one can be used to raise something to the third power. So when we put this in the calculator, I've got a TI-30XA. It does have an x cubed button. Most calculators are going to have an x squared. The x cubed is kind of nice too. So 289.7 times 2.54 x cubed, just it's like 16.387, equals, and then I'm going to write the whole answer, 47473324441. The unit is cubic centimeters. How many significant figures should that answer have? 3 is a good guess. It should have 4. Okay, this guy's kind of tricky. Inches and centimeters, that's an exact conversion. It's an exception. So this one should have 4. Because the starting number had 4. 4747 cubic inches. Any questions? Yes?
So if it's exact, you just think about it?
If the conversion is exact, one way to think about it is it has an infinite number of significant figures. And so one of the other numbers is going to be less. The other, because of that, you can also say, well, that one's exact. I don't even have to look at it. Okay? I won't try to trick you. Like if this was a question where I was testing you to see if you understood significant figures, I wouldn't try to trick you because this is an exact conversion and see if you also remember that. I keep telling you about this being an exact conversion because when you're doing a problem like this and then Mastering Chemistry says, well, yeah, you got the answer right, but the number of significant figures is wrong, you can be like, why? Well, it's because that's an exact conversion. Sorry, there's these little things that you got to remember. Any other questions? Yes?
I'm doing it wrong on the calculator.
Okay. Yes, I would be happy to talk to your calculator. So, it's important when we're using the conversion factor that you cube the number. But sometimes students get carried away and they see this number, 289.7 cubic inches, and they say, oh, well, I have to cube this number too. And then I come up with this answer, cubic centimeters, and I have to cube that number too. No. Only when we're doing the conversion factor. Because you remember how we got that? We started with 1 inch was equal to 2.54 centimeters. But a cubic inch is more than 2.54 cubic centimeters. I'm not much of an artist, but I can draw a decent box. So let's say this is a cube and it's 1 inch on a side. Okay, so this side is 1 inch, and this side is 1 inch, and this dimension is 1 inch. 1 inch is the same as 2.54 centimeters. So each of these dimensions, oops, I missed. This one, and that one is also 2.54 centimeters. So let's calculate the volume of the box in inches and in centimeters. Well, it's the length times the width times the height. So the volume will equal 1 inch times 1 inch times 1 inch, which equals 1 inch cubed, which is just 1. It's 1 cubic inch, right? But if we do that with the centimeters, we've got 2.54 centimeters times 2.54 centimeters times 2.54 centimeters. And that is going to equal 16.4, I'm just rounding, cubic centimeters. Does that make sense? A cubic inch is not equal to 2.54 cubic centimeters. They're different. So you have to cube the conversion, but don't just automatically cube anything that has a cubed unit on it. Here's another example. How many cubic inches are there in 3.25 cubic yards? We read the question. We look for numbers. There's only one number. So that's got to be where we're going to start. Cubic yards. And then the question, how many cubic inches? Well, that's inches cubed. Cubic inches, inches cubed. Exactly the same thing. Bless you. So when we're trying to go between cubed, and this works for squared units also, we need to find the relationship between the units without the power. What's the relationship between inches and yards? 1 yard is what? 36 inches. There's a yardstick. Well, actually, it's a meter stick, but there's a yard. 3 feet, 12 inches in every foot, 36. That's one that you're kind of supposed to remember. A yard is 36 inches. What if you didn't remember that? You could go from yards to feet to inches. You could do that. Adds another step. We figured it out, so we're not going to do that extra step. So we can go directly here because we know the relationship between yards and inches. So 3.25 cubic yards. We're going to have one thing in here. We want cubic inches on the top, and we want cubic yards on the bottom. And then our units are going to cancel out. What are the numbers? 1 yard is 36 inches. But a cubic yard is a lot more than 36 cubic inches. We have to cube the numbers also. One cube doesn't matter, it's still 1. So 3.25 times 36 cubed, or you can do times 36 times 36 times 36, you get the same answer. I'm going to get a big number here. 151,632 cubic inches. How many significant figures should that have? 3. It has 6 as I wrote it, but I haven't rounded it yet. Should we round it to 152 cubic inches? Can we do that? No. This is 151,632 cubic inches. When we round the number, it has to stay roughly the same size. We're going to keep 3 significant figures. We're going to keep the 1, the 5, and then this 1 is where the uncertainty lies. What place is that? This is the ones, tens, hundreds. This is in the thousands place. Anytime you're rounding something and you're higher than the ones place, watch out. This is where students tend to just lose their minds, and you just start chopping off numbers and changing values, and you're like, yeah, I came up with an answer. It's the wrong answer. Put it in scientific notation first, and then you can chop things off, and you won't have a problem. So this would be 1.51632 times 10. The decimal point was behind the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubic inches. Always, 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 always write the unit. Now I'm going to keep the 1, the 5, and the 1. And this will be 1.52 times 10 to the 5th cubic inches. The alternative, which is not preferred, would be to say 152,000 cubic inches. That's like, eh. First of all, some people are going to forget to throw the zeros in there, and then they're going to be really, really wrong. And at best, your answer here is ambiguous and not as clear as we want it to be. So scientific notation is better here. Any questions? Converting cubed units is not or squared units is not something we do a lot of, but we do a little bit of it. Getting the whole dimensional analysis process, that's critical. That's really, really important. The cube square thing, kind of important.